Do narcissists actually change? If you guys don't know who I am, my name's Ben Taylor. So I run Raw Motivations, and I'm on this platform and several other platforms to bring awareness about narcissism, healing, growth, and change to people out there. So I work with people who have been with a narcissist and have been in a toxic, abusive relationship, and they're trying to figure out, how do I get out of this? How do I work on what's next? How do I break the trauma bond, those ties and the things that are pulling me back to a person that I know I don't want to be with, but I still feel that pull, I still feel that thought. I also work with narcissists. I work with people like myself who are saying, hey, I think I might be a narcissist. I'm like, all right, let's talk. Let's get you into therapy. Let's work through, stop lying. Let's get you to a place where you can start understanding who you are, and let's start implementing, baby steps of little changes to try to increase who you are, your awareness, and also help you live a better life than what you've lived previously. I work majority with people who have been in those abusive relationships and really trying to get them to a place where they can get healing, growth, and change in their lives to be able to achieve new heights, new levels, and to not have to go back and not have to look back on life and think like, wow, this all defines me. Like, no, this has been a part that's developed you to be a better person than what you even thought you could be. And because you've had to go through this trauma, my goal is to be able to help you get clarity about it and where you're going from there on. So in talking about narcissism and in narcissistic world and everything like that, people ask, like, do narcissists actually change? Like, is it possible? Are they capable of that? And I think what you see a lot of times in a lot of narcissistic relationships, you see the other person that's there and is stuck in a trauma bond because they're hoping, they're waiting, and they're saying like, I think they're going to change. I think they're going to change. And they hang on a little bit longer for, some result that they think is going to happen or some change that they think is going to show. Typically what you'll see is a narcissist that might profess change or might say something about change, but then nothing really happens. Or if the change happens, it's very short-lived. Sometimes they'll refer to it as like a flash in the pan, or just like a very quick thing that pops up and then disappears pretty quickly. So a lot of times you'll be with a narcissist like early on, and it'll be a great relationship. It'll be like full of love bombing, full of gaslighting, full of future faking, but the relationship will seem good. And then as the mask falls off and they change, then the idea is like, I just want this person to get back to how they originally were, to get back to how they were loving, to get back how they actually, put me first, put back to like that loving, caring relationship that I thought I had. And so there's an aspect that people are like, okay, like we need to do whatever we can to figure out how to get back there. And oftentimes that's trying to figure out how to get the other person to change. I'm sure if you've been with a narcissist, you've noticed anything that you say and anything that you tell them or push on them isn't going to hold water. It's not going to last very long. I know many people I've talked to that they told a narcissist, hey, like whatever you do, just please don't do this because I have to take care of this, whatever it might be. Please don't do this. And the narcissist does the exact opposite. I know a lot of people that have asked narcissists, hey, I need your help with this one thing, and they don't do it. I need you to change in this area. I need you to put me first. I need you to schedule time to actually spend time with me. I need you to, stop disappearing so much. Like, I need you to communicate what's going on. Like, a lot of different things that people ask the narcissist to change and to work on different things. And narcissist isn't really worried or isn't wondering or isn't thinking about the other person. So as a result, there is no change. And you might have been in a relationship where they did change for a period of time. And a period of time, I mean a day, a week, a month, maybe max of a year. I think that's kind of stretching it for a lot of narcissists. But maybe you had criteria or goals or thoughts, and you're like, hey, if this person can start changing this way, if they can start listening to me, if they can stop yelling at me, stop screaming at me, if they can start like actually making me a priority, like working less, like spending time with the kids, like all this kind of stuff. If I can start seeing these changes, maybe it'll happen. Oftentimes what happens in these type of relationships is people end up coming to the table and saying like, hey, this is what I need for you to be in this relationship. Like, this is what I need for us to make this work. Like, this is the change that I need in you. And often they'll see a change happen, but it's normally short-lived. It's normally for a week or a couple weeks or something like that. And it's almost like the narcissist will go and will meet that criteria. Like, you give them, hey, I've got 4 things that I need to see to be able to stay with you. And they're like, okay, got it. Give me the list. 1, 2, 3, 4, done. Check the box. And what you'll see is you'll see them perform to that level. You'll see them perform to the level of like, hey, I just met all your expectations, so like I don't know what your problem is. Like I don't know why you're still upset at me. Well, I'm still upset at you because of how you treat me, of how you yell at me, of how you gaslight, of how you lie, of how you cheat. Well, yeah, but I did all the criteria. A lot of times narcissists love lists because they can check the list, they can check the box, and then in their minds, they're done. They're done with everything that they had to do to be able to sign you over to keep you in that relationship. If you're in a relationship like that, like you need to be careful not to give them all the list. Giving a person all the list literally just shows them what they have to do in order to manipulate you more. So what I normally suggest when you're working with a narcissist, when you're working with someone in a toxic relationship and you're trying to think, hey, I need these changes. Like I want to see these changes for the relationship to continue, but what do? So I normally say, hey, come up with 6 goals. So 6 goals / boundaries, and write them down, a place where nobody can ever see them, or internalize them so no one can ever know what they are. Come up with 6 different goals / boundaries. And these things have to be quantifiable. So it has to be like a SMART goal. It has to be quantifiable. It has to be yes or no answers. It has to be quantifiable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Did they do this? Did they not do this? Like it has to be quantifiable. How many times during this period of time, et cetera, et cetera. It has to be measurable in that aspect of like, this is what it is, this is how long, and it has to be time sensitive of like, I expect this to happen within a week, within 2 weeks, within 6 months, within a year. You sit down and you write out and you figure out 6 of those criteria. Then you go to the table with a narcissist and you pull out your list and you communicate 2. You only communicate 2. Okay, this is something that you will never communicate the other 4 to the narcissist ever. Like literally you'll take those to the grave with you. Okay, because what you want to be able to help start the narcissist, jumpstart any change. And if they jumpstart it, great, okay? They jumpstart it. But you don't just believe it right then. You don't buy it hook, line, and sinker. You wait. And you wait to see, okay, I gave them 2 things that like, I need this to be able to stay in this relationship. And you wait to see what happens. If they perform those 2 things very quickly, then watch to see if they stop. Watch to see if they stop those 2 things or if nothing else changes. And it's just, I did those 2 things, like we should be good. Like now you owe me because I did what you need me to do, et cetera, et cetera. The reason why you never give the other 4 is because you never want to give a narcissist a full list of what you expect from them. They need to start progressing and build their own list of how they need to change, how they need to grow, how they need to gain and earn responsibility and accountability for their actions, how they need to develop their honesty, their character, and their vulnerability to be able to engage with you on a higher level than how they have in the past. And see, most people, when they see the narcissist starting to change, when they see the narcissist starting to get into those environments, they're like, I'm not sure if I should say because my narcissist is changing. Like they're working on this. I told them I need them to get into therapy. So they're in therapy and different things like this. They normally only have a couple criteria and those things are normally met. But then what I've seen with people a lot of times is then after that criteria is met, give it a couple weeks, couple months, and they're back in the same exact place in the abusive relationship that they were to start off with, oftentimes even further down the road. Oftentimes the abuse is even worse at that point. And I've talked to people where those cycles happen, where they kind of push away, then they come back, you perform to a certain level, then they degress, all this kind of stuff. And they say like, it's a cycle. Like you get to see it over a period of time. And oftentimes that cycle, as it continues, will get smaller and smaller. The in-between times will be shorter and shorter. And the abuse will become more prevalent day after day because they start realizing like, hey, I did this and they took me back. I did this and they didn't care about the boundary. I did this and there was no consequences. So the next time I'm questioning like, should I do this? It doesn't really matter because it didn't matter the first time or the second time or the third time. So with that, be careful about setting goals and boundaries and not following through. Not following through and not having consequences for the other person will completely obliterate your credibility of setting that boundary. And as a result, the narcissist will run over that boundary every single time. So please be careful about that. Follow for more information about narcissism, how it's affected my life, and how I'm trying to help other people out there. Take a look and follow on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or listen to on the podcast, Apple or Spotify. Thank you guys so much.